What's going on, y'all? So listen. What's going on, y'all? Okay, first of all, well, girl, I kind of just woke up a little bit. I had the day off. It was a long night. I had a day off. But girl, let's just get up into this episode of this season finale of The Chi. Y'all, the hell was that? You know what? I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna be real, okay? And for the people that can't stomach realness or whatever, you might as well just click off because I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all. I don't know what I was expecting from the season finale. It really wasn't all of this, okay? I have to say, and it's more so the way that they wrote things and they had things play out and everything happened on one particular day / night. And I didn't like it. Okay, I'm gonna just put it out there. I didn't like the season finale. And truth be told, last week's episode was way better than the season finale. I'm just gonna be real honest with you. Am my throat going out? But anyway, it is. What's going on with my throat? My voice. But anyway, who cares? This is why I would have to say 95, and I literally just put this out there, 95% of the episode was dumb. It was dumb. It was stupid the way that they did it. And I'm about to give my reasonings why, okay? So, for the most part, last week, we ended the episode with Tiffany, her water breaking, right? And so, with that whole situation, we're trying to get her to the hospital. Victor is trying to get her to the hospital. And this again is showing, and I just know why are they doing this? I want Victor to have a happy story, okay? I want Victor to find his happiness because he has already been through a lot. Damn near every character has been through a lot, but why we picking... Victor has literally came from the streets, right? He came from the streets. He became this big dude in the streets. They call him Trig. He changed his life around for the sake of his brother, being a good example for Jake, being a good example for the neighborhood, trying to run for, city council and politics and all of that stuff, only to get knocked back down, but not to go back to the same person that he was before. He's still this good guy that he has always been underneath that Trig persona, right? And so we see that, yeah, he had a girlfriend that was there for him, but at the same time, she didn't want to stay in Chicago. And so therefore, we had this one moment where he almost, and oh my God, I just forgot that and I just remembered. He almost got taken out, okay? It was, the whole doodah situation, and not even that, it was one of the bodies that was in the trunk, right? That almost got pinned on him, okay? He escaped that. And continued to go forward. He got off of that, strings was pulled, good, whatever. And he didn't do anything to put him back in harm's way, to, get him back out there and locked up and all of that stuff. Great. Okay? This is what you're supposed to do when you are given a second chance, right? Second, third, fourth, whatever. You continue to do good. Don't put yourself in unnecessary harm's way that's going to get you a negative consequence, right? So your girlfriend leaves you. You don't really spiral out after that or crash out after that, because it's an understanding at this point. She basically just wasn't the one for you. You find out that, oh, I got a little bit of feelings for Tiffany. Okay, cool. Let me be there for her. Y'all vibing, y'all having a good time, and then your wayward ass, problem child ass brother comes back and starts a whole bunch of mess. Almost kill her baby daddy and make it so that now you're the bad guy because you didn't tell her that he was back, as if that was something that he was proud of. Okay, y'all weren't even on that level for him to be telling you all this personal stuff. But then again, y'all did go on a little date, but okay. And now you're going to take that out on him. Okay. So now he's getting back in your good graces because he just so happened to be there when your water breaks. and he's taking you to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, let's stop by the house so that we can get our birthing bag. Okay, and I can find this picture of Rob. I really wasn't upset at that, because that's understandable, right? Because like she said, when you giving birth, most of the time, a lot of women be up in labor for a long ass time. So she felt like she had time, right? Okay, now we can tell that time has been going past because, they was at the cigar lounge. It was nighttime. And by the time they get on their merry way from Alicia's house to the hospital, it's in the daytime, right? All right, cool. They get stuck in traffic. And I mean heavy ass traffic. And I said, what traffic is going on in Chicago during this time? What was happening? Who was here? What was y'all at? Because I mean, that was bumper to bumper where people was getting out the car looking like, what the fuck is happening? I said, what was happening back then? Girl, who was in town? So you got that. So eventually they just found another way to get to the hospital. They finally get to the hospital, and this is where I was about to step off the train. You come into the hospital, and instead of just stopping at the front desk where you see all the nurses, and regardless of if they're doing stuff, you are a pregnant woman in active labor. You mean to tell me you said, let's bypass the front desk or all these nurses and people that's right here and say, give me a goddamn wheelchair to sit my pregnant ass in, and y'all can wheel me up to labor and delivery? No, we bypass all of that on our own, and we go to another section in the hospital where ain't nobody at. We go to a broken down ass elevator, which just so happened to break down. Oh my God. The elevator breaks in the and they get stuck in there. So this causes Victor to have to deliver Tiffany's baby, because the baby came a little bit sooner than need be, right? And that was a beautiful sight. I ain't even have no problem with him doing that. And what I had a problem with, baby, listen, the man on the intercom would have got popped if I would have found him, okay? Because why you asking me all these questions? No, the elevator is not moving. No, I ain't never delivered no baby before. No, what the hell am I gonna do? Like, come on, he was just asking a lot of questions that it was just really irritating, okay? But then, you get in the room, the baby is fine and all of that stuff. And Victor is being there, being the helpful person that he is. And because I don't know too many people that probably would have stayed with somebody and did all of that for somebody that ain't giving them none, and the baby ain't his. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he's a stand-up guy, and I love that about Victor. And I'm like, Tiffany, please take this into consideration, that this is a good guy, okay? This is the person that you need. This is a person that's going to be that man. If you need a man in your son's life, he is a good role model at this point. At this particular point. And I said, okay, cool. We pause on that. We go over to Emmett and Keisha. She winds up having contractions. All of this is happening the same day. She winds up having a contraction. And I do love the fact that Emmett was so excited to actually be able to witness the birth of his child. Because he said, I never been this far. You know what I'm saying? He never seen the birth. And he was just so excited. And I do love the fact that they did have an at-home birth. They had a doula. But I did think, like, once you have an at-home birth, don't you supposed to go to the hospital so that you can get checked out? They didn't even go to the hospital. That's neither there nor there. That I took that in the back of my mind too, so that you can make sure the baby was okay. But I get the doula, they can do their thing, but also, just in case you gotta you gotta go to the hospital, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But okay. Keisha, she gives birth in the birthing tub. And that was a beautiful moment. I did love the fact, and this is in the 5% of the episode that was actually really good to me, okay, that I actually enjoyed, the birthing. The way that she was just being so calm, and I was glad she told Damien, get the hell out, because your energy is just not is. Like Damien said on the phone to his daddy. She told me that my energy was too chaotic. Yeah. Okay. And so she gives birth, and the way that Emmett was there just being so supportive. And I will have to give this show the credit. They do a good job of showing good men, because good black men. Yes, we do have those wayward bastards, niggas, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, okay? They be out here and they just be really causing destruction and all type of chaos. We have those. But also, what doesn't get so much publicized and talked about as much as it should is the fact that just it's probably even more black men out here that are actually good and that are actually taking care of their families and being supportive and doing all of this stuff or whatever. You know, even if they probably stepped off and, you know, did a little bad thing here or there, they're making up for it and they're learning from their ways. You know what I'm saying? I get the redemption art, and I will give that. I will let that pass, because we do need a lot more positive imagery of black men and black people in general. So I do love that aspect of Victor / Trig's character. I do love that aspect of Emmett's character, from when he started to where he's at now, the maturity and all of that stuff. I do like that with the Bakari character too, because we saw how he started off and now he's trying to better himself. You know what I'm saying? People are learning that they don't need to do this bullshit, and it's okay to be a good person, because deep down you are a good person. And then you have motherfuckers like Reg, who is just terrible through and through. Okay? And that's also a fact and something that happens in just about every community. You have good people and you have bad people. And some people, there's just no hope for them. Okay? Because they just really are stuck in their wayward, destructive ass ways. And that is Reginald. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Emmett, I just love the fact that he was there through and through. There was not one selfish bone in his body. And because also he's going through a lot with the going on with his mom and everything. So yeah, and the fact that he almost got taken out of this world, he's being a little bit more, you know, aware of things and gentler and just being there for the people around him. And I love that. Because truth be told, you know, given everything that's going on, he could have told Damien, listen, bitch, you can get the hell up out of here. Okay, I'm not fucking with you at all. But he didn't do that. And that says a lot about his character. Me, on the other hand, I would have said get the hell out. Okay, but, you know, he's growing and he's a little bit more mature in that aspect than I am. Okay, but, you know, cool. And that was just so beautiful to see that whole scene. It was so wholesome. It was so wholesome, so beautiful. And I was just like, yes. And then you throw in there that Jada is on her last breath. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right when Keisha is about to, you know, she's getting contractions for the first time, we see Jada. We see Jada just go into the room, and she was doing something, and she wound up feeling this pain that almost crippled her over, right? Darnell comes in trying to see what's going on with her. Next thing you know, we see her laying in the bed, and you can literally see her face is ashened, okay? It's like the color is literally leaving her body. Her life force was leaving her body throughout this whole episode. And baby, I was not ready for it. We knew it was coming, but damn, not the very next episode. I was like, oh my God. And I have to give them props in their tens for the way that they did this with Jada. They handled it with care. Yeah, you know, some people say, oh, this is just so coincidental that she gives birth and, you know, then she's here. Okay, yeah, we get it. It's TV. But at the same time, it was a beautiful moment. And it was a sad, bittersweet, beautiful moment all in one, right? And I noticed, like, with the cinematography of it all, A lot of the scenes this season in particular too, and I can't remember if it was like this in the other seasons as well. A lot of the scenes were dark. You know what I'm saying? The lighting was a little darker, even if it was in light places, it was dark, you know. But then when it gets, even when Keisha was giving birth in the birthing pool, it was a little bit, you know, not dark, but it lit up a little bit and they had the candles around, but it still was dark compared to the scene with Jada. Jada's scene was light. We actually saw light. And when she was laying in the bed, it was almost as if angelic, you know? If you look how the light was bouncing off and it looked like, you know, it was a couple of, you know, what is it, different type of exposure to her. And it was that cloudy looking light, almost like they're about to ascend to heaven, how they do it and everything of that such. It was giving very much that, like, I just like the way that they did that. And then she, you know, Darnell did want Emmett to come over. Because at first, I don't think she wanted him to come over. But, of course, Darnell's going to do what he got to do. Because he wants his son to see his mom before she passed. And he does call his phone. But Damien answers the phone and says that, well, Keisha is about to give birth. And he winds up telling him that, you know, Jada is about to transition. To have to do that conversation is just really, really, oh, I don't want to have that. I cannot deal with something like that. But Jada finds out about the fact that, you know, Emmett is about to be a daddy again. And so she said, I want to see my grandbaby. I want to go over there and I can make it over there. You know, they wind up taking her over there and she winds up seeing her grandbaby, which is a girl. Out of all them boys that he had, he finally got his little baby girl, and they named her Jada. Like, what? Oh my God. I was sitting there like, oh. And it's the only time I cried in the episode. Only time I cried in the episode. Okay, I ain't even gonna lie. I teared up. And then, you know, Jada still wanted to get Emmett out of Chicago. Emmett don't want to leave. Jada did tell Keisha that she had some money or something saved up for her, whatever, for like homeschooling and all this other stuff. I said, oh my God, she's looking at. You know what? And I felt that was something decent, because what the hell is going on with Keisha mama? Now, granted, I understand, baby, Keisha mama ain't on the show no more. Nina just got her ass up and she went with that and just went on ahead and just went road tripping. And I get that her character is no longer on the show, but how do you go from being this overprotective mother, especially when your daughter was kidnapped and all of that stuff, to just not hearing anything at all? I don't like the way they wrote that. Okay, you could have still at least made it seem like she was on the phone with her and she was checking up with her. Or you could put it in there that, oh, mama was here last week or whatever. Even though we don't get to see her, we didn't get no mention of it. Because if my child went through all of the stuff that she went through, regardless, and I found out that she pregnant again on her own, this is her own choice. With the person that she wanted to be with. It happened, right? I'm still going to pop up at least at the baby shower. I'm going to pop up. Maybe she'll pop up after the birth. Okay, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? We ain't getting no inclination that they still got a good relationship, or do they be talking on the phone? And you can literally do that. Like, she could be talking on the phone and we don't have to hear Nina, but we can just imply that, oh, hey, mama, how you doing? Yeah, this is what's going. You could do something like that. And I'm just like, because it just makes, like, damn, Jada just replaced her mom. That's what it was feeling like. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, I wish they could have did that a little better. Maybe in season 8, Nina could make an appearance back, or we could get something like that, because they're going to need some, like, support. For real. This is the moment where now we see what you need. Like, you need that familiar support. You need your mama. Bitch, I need my mama. You know? You just need her. Because then Jada laid down on Darnell after they had that little conversation, and baby, the next, I don't know if it was the next few hours or the next day, Jada didn't wake up. And as soon as I seen her lay down, I knew that's what it was. I knew it was over and it was done. She, like she said, I am not leaving without seeing my grandbaby. And that is exactly, and it's like people know when, and that is such a crazy thing. People know when, a lot of people, when, especially when they like in a tail end of an illness, they know when it's time to go or when they're about to go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I heard things about like sometimes some people will get like this burst of energy and then it's done. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, they just get a little bit of sense about it and then they go, you know, get this air of peace. And she just laid down and then wake back up. And when Emmett came up in there, it was, Darnell is one thing, but when Emmett, oh my God, because Emmett, that's all he had for the majority of his life was his mama. Regardless of how effed up he was doing, she still was there. And no matter how mad she still was there for him. And him coming there and just breaking down. And I feel like that was some real stuff. I feel like he was really, really crying because that was Yolanda Ross' last episode on the show. And they are so close-knit. And she was one of the characters that stayed from the very beginning. Original character. Oh, God. It was just... So I didn't have a problem with that. That was in the 5% that I truly, truly enjoyed and was very, very thankful to see. And Yolanda Ross, you did such a phenomenal job. You did such a phenomenal job on this show to the point, in that one season, I'm going to keep on bringing it up. Baby, you made me love you and you made me hate your ass in the same time, okay? And now I'm back to loving you. And, you know, I wish so much more for her. I want to see her in so many other things too. But, yeah, girl, you did that. You did that, okay? We get this whole thing with Bakari and Lene. You know, him, and again, I do like the fact that they put a positive male role model and influence in the script for Bakari, because Bakari didn't have all of that. Yeah, he could have looked to Victor and all that stuff, but see, at the time, he wasn't as close to Jake as he is now. You know what I'm saying? So we got that positive role model for Jake with his brother Victor, okay? And then now we have the professor for Bakari, because Bakari really didn't have that influence on him. And he still don't. And it's like the devil and the angel and the good and bad conscience is just going back and forth with him, because you got Nuck over here that's basically making it so that you supposed to have my back. You need to do this and you got to do that or else I'm going to take you out. And then you got making it seem like he ain't got no other choice and this is what he has to do. And then you have the professor who is literally supporting him in his dream of being a writer and putting his story out there and even looking at him as a son. And like he said, because Bakari was like, I ain't your son. I said, now hold up. That ain't what he meant. But, you know, be glad that somebody is looking at you and not looking at you for the negative, okay? Not looking at you as a thug or YN or all that stuff. He's looking at the positive parts about you. You know what I'm saying? And like he said, it's healing something in him. And I said, whoo, bitch. Okay. Okay. I love that part. I like that part. Okay. I was like, yes. This whole situation with Lene and him, and he also had Lene that was supportive of him. But, you know, she very much was still his cheerleader, but she, you know, rightfully broke up with him because she knew what that life would be, being with somebody that was in the streets, okay? She didn't want that type of pain, but always made it an option, well, at least now, that I still love you and come stay with me. I'm about to get my own place. Come stay with me. You don't need to be with Nuck. You don't need to be in the streets. You got your book about to come out and all of this stuff. Let's just, you know, get together like that. And you know, they're young. I don't want them staying together like that, but I get it. It's a refuge. It's safety. It's what they need to do in this instant. And I just don't want nothing to happen bad to Bakari at season 8. Okay. Tracy, Good fucking riddance. Oh my God! Girl, when Tracy popped up at Jada house and was like, how you feeling, girl? I said, bitch, look how she feeling. I said, Tracy, now why would you answer that? She could barely lift her goddamn head up. You see the way that she's breathing? It hurts. That's how she's feeling. And she was like, you know what, girl? I decided I'm going to leave Chicago. I said, girl, bye. You should have left a long time ago, like 15 seasons ago, okay? Truth be freaking told, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, I'm going to miss you. Jada said, I'm going to miss you too. I said, well, that's so stupid. I said, bye, Tracy. Girl, you wasn't even supposed to be on here, okay? And then we get to, I'm getting the positive, okay? Honestly, Pastor Zeke, I don't care. I don't care, okay? I get it. You will never be Papa's daddy. It's like you take Papa's daddy out just to give us Pastor Zeke and the redemption. But again, I can't be too mad at it because you see that this man was on a he had a focus to be a servant of God, and then he just got blinded and distracted and fell into the temptation of, you know, trying to use the church more so for his own deeds and his own well-being and for his wealth and goods and stuff. And he lost path of what it truly meant to be a servant of God, right? And then he found it again once he lost it. Now, it shouldn't take you. I just feel like it shouldn't take a person to lose everything to realize the shit that they already had. You know what I'm saying? And to get back on the good standing with people and to be a better individual. But he is getting a second chance, and I guess this season was about second chances and stuff like that. So yeah, I would give that to you. You know what I'm saying? He's about to get back with his ex-wife. Now me, do I do the step backs and the spin the blocks? I did a couple of times, never worked out. So no. Okay, but I do like. Okay, well, listen, I did say, you know, don't bring him back. I can care less. But if they do bring him back, which I'm pretty sure they're going to, because I'm pretty sure Papa's going to come back. But I don't even know if we saw Papa this episode. And if we did, it was like a very quick glimpse. Okay? Blinking, you would have missed him if he was in the episode. I want them to develop Papa's character way better. Give him much more purpose than what they did this season, okay? Because it was like he was there, but he wasn't, you know? And he barely was there. I remember when the show came on, and the show was literally about the kids for the majority of the things. The kids and Brandon, you know? And then it just stopped being about them and everybody else, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, I need him to have more purpose. I feel like if they do bring Pastor Ezekiel back, which I'm pretty sure they're going to in season 8, because he's about to start this new romance again with his ex-wife. And I do like the fact that he said, well, you know, she was like, I got a little bit of stipulations. If you want to be a family again, you want to move in, so you just gotta, you can do whatever you want. And that be the thing. You could do whatever you want, bitch. Just tell me. Just let me know where you're going and what time you're going to be back. I don't give a fuck what else you do. You know, just come back at a certain time. That's literally what it was that she was saying. And I said, Miss Gurley, you sure you ready for this? Because you was the one that cheated on him. But I get why you did it. But at the same time, But he wasn't no shit either. But then when he said, also, I got a stipulation and a thing for you. We need to sleep in separate rooms. I said, what? All right. Wouldn't be me, but all right. Okay, Pastor Zeke. You know, that was decent. Meanwhile, when they come back for season 8, like I keep on saying, when they come back for season 8 and they bring Pastor Ezekiel, I really want them to make it a Cain and Abel type of situation between him and Charles. Because y'all already set it up at the end of last season when Charles came into his church onto the show, when we was first introduced to him, and tried to make it seem like he basically strong-armed and blackmailed and kind of threatened this man to give him back his position, right? And we seen the build up of what's going to be happening. You know, you see, they literally probably was doing the same thing at one point. That's why he was able to threaten him the way that he was, because I know your secrets and all that stuff, because we used to get down the same way. But now we see that Ezekiel lost everything, and now he done changed his ways back to being a real pastor and actually caring about the people and doing things the correct way and being this changed and godly human being, right? Supposedly, right? And then you're going to have Charles, who's still on the hunt and doing probably shady shit and still trying to get that takeover spirit. Like I just feel like he's going to try to do something to sabotage him and try to still take his church and all this stuff. And it's going to be them going back and forth at each other. I would love to see that, okay? Meanwhile, because Charles ain't grown. Charles is still in this thing just for himself and what he can gain and to fuck women. That's just really what it is, okay? Moving on from that. Now let's get to the bullshit. Bullshit number one, when the episode started off and Nuck was fucking that girl, and just so happened we see, of all people that we only saw one time this season, and that was in episode 1. Rosalind pops up and she got the gun, the blinky aimed at him, and I was waiting for her to say, "Climb up out the pussy, Luther." That's what it was giving, okay? I was like, what the fuck is going on? How'd she get up in the house? Bakari ain't there? Like, no, you supposed to be this low-key type of dude. How she know where you stay at? And how she get up in the place? Well, kind of found out Bakari was up in the room. Well, he was in there with his headphones on, and he ain't even know that she came in. Either way, the doors ain't locked. She picked the lock or whatever. What the hell is going on? But anyway, basically, she was like, "So you killed Doodah? You killed Doodah?" And I was like, wait a minute. So you coming up here getting revenge for Doodah's death? You didn't even like him. And that's what Nuck said. You weren't even in love with that man like that. So what you doing? And she said, I wrote a letter. She said, I found a letter that he wrote me and said, if anything happens to him, if he got killed or whatever, go find the person that killed me and take him out. What? And see, this is when the shit gets stupid. This is when the shit get dumb as fuck, like I was saying, okay? This is where the 95% and the rest of the goddamn episode, maybe take that, I'm going to say 90%. The rest of the episode was just dumb as shit. Because, girl, what? Who does that? I said you couldn't give 2 cents of a shit about Doodah this whole damn time. And at one point, you probably wanted him dead yourself. And now because you came across a 4-page letter of him telling you, well, could you avenge my death if this happened? You gonna do it when you ain't even give a damn about him when he was alive? So what the fuck is you getting out of it when you go and kill the person that did that? Well, like, it was no purpose. It didn't have a reason. Did he have some stipulations up in there that said, listen, girl, if you find the person that take me out, you going to get this, and this on return. This is this, and this is that, and you can have all this money or whatever. Mind you, it probably was already going to her anyway if he hadn't already fixed his will and all that shit, because that was his wife. He ain't had no kids. So I'm just like, girl, what? That don't make no sense. You this angry that Doodah is dead when you didn't give a fuck about him when he was alive? What? And so you go up to Nuck, who actually did kill him, and then Nuck said, no, bitch, it wasn't me. It was Alicia. She had Bianca basically bribe him to come down, lure him over there to the cigar lounge, and then he took him out. She took him out. And it was like, are you for real? And I said, oh my God, she so easily believed Nuck. And I'm sitting here like, why would you trust a street nigga? Why would you trust anybody in this business who had any dealings with your husband? He wasn't trustworthy. So why would you take his word at face value like that? I'm sitting here like, oh, these people are stupid. And it's the way that Nuck, you think because, oh, you got a gun trained on him, he ain't gonna lie. Is that what's the logic? Or that's what it was? I'm sitting here like, what the freak is going on? Nuck is getting by scot-free. Scot-free. I'm like, oh my God. What the hell? What the fucking hell? Okay, that was one. I was blown when that first, mind you, that's how the episode opened up, and I was blown. I said, "Oh, so it's gonna be one of them." Then it was the thing with Tiffany going to the hospital and rolling past the desk of people that could actually help her just to get on the elevator themselves to have birth in the elevator. That was another one. Okay, I said, "Girl, what the hell?" Okay, and then let's get down to the original of it all. So he gets arrested because when Candace was in that car and we seen her last week and she texted Alicia/Terry that she was scared, I guess she went on ahead and said what was going on. And so therefore Alicia told Detective Toussaint, and she wound up coming out there getting the cops and all that stuff, and they wound up arresting him, right? Okay, cool. They arrested that motherfucker just to let him out a couple of hours later. She's smiling all in his face and woo woo woo. And I'm like, well, what are we smiling for if we just gonna let him out? They should have said, no, don't let him out. Don't give him no bail. They gave him bail. Because Candace wound up calling her cousin, Keith, and said, they got Reg. And, we was still in the house and he was burglarizing the house and all this stuff and woo woo woo. And Keith was like, damn, y'all so goddamn stupid. But he should be good because he ain't had no gun, right? No, he ain't had no gun. Okay, well, so it ain't armed burglary. It's just regular burglary. So, he should be good. Just tell me where his stash is and all that stuff. He found where he keep his money at. I was expecting Keith to see that money and to say, what? Deuces, you're shit out of luck, and take that shit and leave, okay? But no. He took the money, bailed the nigga out, and then they come back to the house and have a conversation, or they was in a car, and have a conversation as to what exactly happened. And she told him the truth. I texted my friend and told her that I was scared, and that was it. And it was like, who the fuck is this person that you talking to? Mind you, I'm thinking this is the point that Reg is going to get pissed off. Reg is going to get pissed off at Candace because basically you fucked us up, okay? You fucked us up. No, he didn't. I said, Reg, you actually like her like that? Because he didn't get mad at her. He just wanted to know who she really was and how she looked. And she described her. And Keith was like, that sound like Shad, old bitch. I said, what? And it was like, Alicia, that's who it was. They set her up so that she can go meet her. And when they do that, she wound up telling her, what's so important and all that stuff. Woo, woo, woo. They sat outside her house, saw her leave. Reg went inside and stole some stuff or whatever. Found her safe. I was like, how the fuck you need a better safe if he was able to pop that bitch open right then and there. Got her money that was in that safe. Got some bags, some coats and all that shit or whatever. Came up out of there while Candace was sitting down there having a conversation with her and basically was telling her that she was scared. She trying to get out. She's scared of her boyfriend, all this stuff, whatever. She was like, oh my God, I can help you and make it so that he'll never touch you or do anything to anybody ever again. And it was like, you know what? What you sound like? You sound like a predator. Okay, and Alicia caught on right in there that bitch, you know who the fuck I am and what's going on, and she got the fuck up out of there. And so Candace went on ahead and called Reg and said, or texted him and said, listen, she on her way back, and so that they can pull up, and they went on ahead and drove off. Okay, Keith drove off. All right, fine. Mind you, I'm sitting here like I'm pretty sure some cameras out there and probably saw the license plate on the car. I just what I'm assuming. I think about this stuff. I look at too much, investigation shit. Okay, that's what I was thinking. And so my whole thing is, I'm like, you went there by yourself, Candace, and you dropped the act that you know who she is and that she's playing you. And this whole scenario between Candace and Alicia was dumb as hell anyway. It ain't even got to be about what city you from or whatever, but somebody coming up to you and all of a sudden saying, why don't you let me mentor you? You ain't never seen them a day in your life, never had no conversation, don't know what the hell they do, and you just take them up on that, you give her the number and all this shit, bitch. That's how people get fucking gone missing. That's how people get trafficked. Okay, so you trying to say that Candace dumb as shit? That's what they made her, just really stupid. Then, Alicia gets to her house or whatever, and she sees that, she's been burglarized, okay? Okay, cool. So, she winds up calling Tiffany and telling her, we got burglarized. She was like, oh, damn. And she was like, well, where the fuck you at? She was like, bitch, I'm in the hospital. I just had the baby. Oh, my God, the baby's here. What did you name him? I named him Rob Jr. Okay, cool. Typical. Thank you so much. I'll be right down there right now. So she was about to get ready to go to the hospital. And guess who stopped her? She turns around. Rosalind is in her home. Rosalind said, well, you killed Doodah. I was like, no, I ain't kill that bitch. But I was going to. It was like, you had Bianca help you. No, that was the plan, to have her, lower his ass down there. But, hey, it didn't happen because Nuck did it, bitch. And it was like, how I'm going to try to believe you, because I don't even trust you with all this shit. Girl, next thing you know, Rosalind wound up putting at least 4 bullets in the lady. And she died. I know it's tying in from their meeting, the one and only time that Rosalind was on the show in the season, and that was in episode 1 when she was sitting down there talking to Alicia, and they was talking about getting revenge for this and, for her son's death and all this stuff or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, bitch, what? Of all the people to take out Alicia, y'all set this shit up so that we can think that, oh, it's really about to go down between Alicia and Reg, okay? And then Alicia and Nuck. We was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Only for that to be fucking fizzled out real quick and in the stupidest way by having Rosalind come in and take her out just because she took out Doodah, a nigga that she ain't get 2 fucks about. Because she read a letter that he left. Left the letter in the hallway. What? Because me and my baby gonna be okay? Are you serious? I said, get the fuck up out of here. Get the fuck up out of here. Oh my God. I was just like, really? That's how we gonna do it? That's how we gonna do it. I really wanted Alicia to take out either one of Nuck or Reg. Preferably Nuck. But one of them, I wanted her to take one of them out by her hands. Okay? And then one of them take her out. Not for Rosalind to come and do what? That didn't make no fucking sense. And then we see them portioning off and spreading out the money and all that shit. Okay, fine. Another part that didn't make sense. You got Shy up there having probably the most healthiest relationship, budding relationship, is in the infancy stages. She's sleeping in his room. They got their clothes on. They didn't have sex. He respects her. She respects him. He is just in a happy, joyous place. Again, another black man that went down a wrong path and has finally found something that he needs to live for, and that is making him happy and turning him into a good person, bringing out the joy in him, bringing out the beautiful person in him, right? Making plans of meeting her for having sleepover with her, she hosting him and all of this stuff, and encouraging him not to be upset that you got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people ain't got jobs now. Be thankful. He was like, you know what? You so right. Let me get my ass up. I was like, that's right, Shad. Only for him to go over there to Alicia's place. Mind you, Tiffany also called Nuck and told him that the house got burglarized. Go check and see what's going on. This was after Victor had said, you want me to go over there and see what's going on? She said no. So you call Nuck. Nuck goes over. He steps in and he sees the door open. He stepped up in that bitch. Was the door open or was it closed? Either way, he stepped in that hoe. He saw all the chaos that happened. And he looked over to the left. He saw Alicia ass laying on that floor. Did he walk over there? Absolutely fucking not. He saw it, walked the fuck back, took his shirt and wiped his fucking fingerprints off that goddamn handle and left. Told Bakari, Alicia dead. Oh, okay. I bring that up because Shy goes into the place. You're a street nigga. I don't give a fuck how you can change, but you know how it is in the streets, and you already just got out of jail. You've been out of jail for probably a couple of years now. You don't want to go back for something that you did not do this time, right? Y'all, why did he go in there? I get the initial shock and you like, oh my God, because this is somebody that you had an intimate relationship with, that you actually care for. But at the same time, you see the chaotic place. The place is ransacked. You see the body is laying there in a pool of blood, and the blood is actually just like jellifying or whatever, meaning that bitch, it's been there. It's not even bright red no more, okay? It's darkening because it's drying up. She's been there for a minute. She don't even look the same color, and you ain't even have to go over there to see that. And you go over there to see it, and instead of just stepping the fuck back like Nuck Dig and calling the cops and saying, oh my God. Or better yet, just wiping your fingerprints off and leaving. Granted, I get it. Sometimes you don't think, but bitch, if I've been to jail, and I've been in jail for some few years, I'm not trying to fucking go back for a murder that I did not commit. Let me step the fuck back out and clear my name, okay? I didn't do this shit. You're not finna catch me up in something, okay? So instead of calling the cops or calling somebody a cop adjacent, he calls Victor. And so now Tiffany is irked at the fact that Victor about to leave her in the hospital. And he said, I'm just finna go figure out what's going on and I'll be right back. I'm like, oh, so now you want him around? Now you want him around? When all this time you weren't even talking to him? Bitch, get the fuck. But I get it, So, go ahead and do what you gotta do. He go over there and they step. I said, what the fuck is going on? Why are y'all in the house? Get out the house, bitch. Get out the house, niggas. Okay? They were pissing me off. And what really pissed me off even worse, I get that he felt, Shy felt a little like it was his fault because he wasn't there to protect her. But at the end of the day, bitch, if you probably was there, Roston the type of bitch that'll take you out first and then take her out. Like, girl, you would have been dead too, okay? But this is where I completely lost it. And I said, who put this stupid shit in the fucking script like this? He said, let's put her up on the couch because I don't want her on the floor like this. I said, what? I don't want to be accused of something I ain't do. Okay, so why are we about to touch the body? Even Victor said, let's get the fuck up out of here. We ain't got to touch the body. Don't touch the body. I ain't touching that. And you let this motherfucker convince you to pick this lady up and put her on the couch because of what? How are you going to make it seem like she ain't died right there? I mean, the blood's still right there on the floor. You was finna clean the shit up? The police would have known. Luminar, nigga. They would have blew like that bitch and it would have lit the fuck up. What are you doing? And your DNA is all up in there now. For real, for real. Oh, God. I said, I know they are not finna do this. And they stood up, and of course they got blood on their hands. Literally. Because they put her on the chair. Bitch, all of a sudden you hear sirens. And then you hear, come out with your hands up. I said, are you fucking kidding me? Two characters who made a whole 180 change and had good things going for them. It looked like Tiffany was finally about to break the ice again with Victor. Shy got a good relationship that was about to start blossoming. He's feeling good about himself. He got a supportive woman by himself. Oh my God. Making plans with her. Only for them to now be suspect in the murder of this woman. And I pray there's some goddamn cameras out there to see that, oh no, they just came up there afterwards and this did not happen on their watch. Because what the fuck? And you know how crooked Chicago is, especially to black people, especially to black men. Okay? Are you fucking serious? And mind you, Trig already had a almost murder case on his ass anyway. Remember? And it was Alicia and them that helped get him off. Because if it wasn't for Alicia, he would have been in jail. I said, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why would you do that? And so now you're going to have in season 8, Tiffany is definitely not going to be fucking with Victor. Because she going to be irrational. Because not only is the person that stepped in to help her after her baby daddy died, she's dead. His whole bloodline is gone besides the baby. Oh my God. Just wipe that out. The baby granddaddy dead. The baby grandmama dead. The baby daddy dead. God damn. And now Rashad about to lose this lady. Oh my God. What the fuck is going on, bitch? Girl, let me get the hell up off of here. I don't know why y'all did that. I don't know why y'all did that. Maybe I'm doing a little bit much. But I really had to, 50 minutes. 51 minutes. Girl, I ain't even cutting this down, baby. That just pissed me clear the smooth off. Y'all gotta do better next season. Cause ain't no way in hell Reg getting off this. Let me get off of here. Tell me how you feel. Put your comments down in the comments. Did you like it or did you not? Am I doing a bunch or what? Tell me, girl. I'll see y'all later. Have a good weekend. Peace, y'all.